Hi, everyone, and welcome to El Camino People, the podcast. Today, we are going to talk about Camino spirits, but in a way that is different. Today, we have Tom Cartwright. He's the founder of Camino Gin. How are you doing, Tom?
Hi, I'm very good. Thanks. Thank you very much for having me. Good to be
Thank you for being with us. And finally, it looks like the summer is getting ready. So what a better time to talk to you that now, everybody's start to mix and get ready for all those summer drinks that we are so ready to have with friends and family. So it's perfect timing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, that's good. Everything's hopefully opening up. So, good time.
So how are you guys doing over there? I'm like, here things in Spain are start to open, but it still looks like people coming from the UK. There's still a little bit of from the government over there that please don't go to Spain. But how are things now actually over there?
I think things are getting gradually better. A lot of people are taking the vaccine, which is good. And I think there are talks of easing the lockdown even more. So we can now go into restaurants and bars as of a couple of weeks ago, which is nice. And we can start meeting each other in houses again. So
Wow.
we can see, relatives a bit more and, go back to doing some of the important things that we missed. Yeah, things positive.
It's funny because you guys work more open, but then suddenly everything go back to close now. Like in Spain, we were closed for a long time, but things are opening down. But you guys have a while ago another kind of like lockdown, no?
Yeah. We opened up towards Christmas, and it was the same. The restaurants were open and things.
Yeah.
But then after Christmas, there was a lot of infections, so they put us into a second lockdown, which lasted like just over 3 months. So it was quite. Yeah, not the funnest time really, being locked up in the dark, but there you go.
No, even though it is what it is. Finally, at least we are all finally ready to get out and start hiking, drinking, and just back to our normal lives. So we always start with the same thing. It's the 1 minute questionnaire. We have here the incredible list, 40 questions. No one has ever even get close to the 40, so maybe you can be the first one. So are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm nervous, but yeah, let's go.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Your first Camino?
It was the Camino Frances in 2016.
How many Caminos?
So I walked the Camino Frances, and then I did a section of the Camino Portuguese in 2018. So I'd say one and a bit.
One city?
One city, my favorite city. Along the Camino.
Yeah.
Burgos.
Okay. One meal?
Again, along the Camino, probably tortilla.
One song?
Again, from the Camino, my friend Jesse, an Australian singer-songwriter who I met there, he wrote a song called Teresa, and that kind of reminds me.
One color?
Blue.
Smell?
Lavender.
Canteen or Camelback?
Canteen.
Muxia or Fisterra?
I've never actually been to both. I had to leave at Santiago, so I don't know. I'd like to go both.
Coffee, espresso with milk?
Espresso every time.
Okay, that was your minute. Okay, I agree with espresso.
Yeah,
I'm still waiting for someone to develop the Camino Cafe, but
the Camino coffee. Yeah, one day.
So tell us a little bit. Usually, when the first question that comes to my mind when I talk to someone that is not from Spain, I'm like right here. The Camino is right in front of my face, and I seen it every day. But how was with you? How did you find out about the Camino de Santiago?
Yeah, I first found out about it from a friend, a guy called Greg, who had walked it the year before me. So he'd taken a year out of university and he was going traveling. He went to India and a few other places, and he came across the Camino. I'm not sure how he found out about it, but I remember he came back and he told me about this awesome adventure he had. He went out by himself. He met all these incredible people from all over the world. And I just started thinking about it. I was Googling, and then I came across, obviously, the film, The Way.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched that a good few times, and I thought, I want to do this. So after seeing the film and speaking to my friend Greg, that was when I planned to go out there myself and see what it was all about.
So you planned already, or just after watching the movie, you were like, I'm ready to go?
Yeah. I think I booked it about 2 months after I found out about it.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about dropping out of university. I was in a course that I didn't really like, and been working just in shops and things around the city. And I just felt like I needed to explore, see something different, go on a bit of an adventure. And then this sounded like the perfect thing.
So how did you did a lot of planning, or was it just something, like get rid of my backpack and I'm ready to go?
I didn't do that much training. I did a few walks, so around the UK, but not big ones. We have Mount Snowdon in Wales.
Yeah.
Snowdon. Yeah, I walked up that a couple of times, and at the time I was doing quite a bit of walking around the city I lived in, down south in Bath, and so I just sort of gradually, just sort of eased into it really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And anything, talking, everybody over there, usually like coming from so far, I'm like, usually people, research blogs, Facebook, all these YouTube channels. Were you one of those that start researching the whole way, or were you like, I don't care, I have a backpack, I have a place to go, that's it?
Yeah, no, I didn't research it. I just did it every day, just seeing whatever happened. In fact, it wasn't until I started working on the Camino Gin that I realized there's a massive Camino community online. There's all these, wonderful podcasts, the YouTube things, there's big Facebook groups, loads of Instagram accounts. And then it's awesome. But I didn't know about that before I went.
Yeah, I think it's funny how this pandemic has brought all the Camino community to from the Camino to online, and we all met, we all interact in a way we still do the Camino family here, but till we can go and do it again in the Camino. So how was your feeling? And like you get ready, you've dropped from college, you are looking for that adventure, and then you arrive suddenly to Saint Jean de Pied-de-Port, a French place, just with your backpack, not knowing anyone. How was the feeling?
It was a bit. I think initially it was quite scary because I flew to Biarritz, and then from there I got the train to Saint Jean Pied de Port. And the first night in Biarritz, there was someone else in the little albergue where I was staying who was about to go and walk the Camino, and she was she was an American lady, quite a lot older than me. But we began talking, and she was telling me a bit about her experiences. So that made me feel a bit more comfortable. And then in the morning, before I got on the train to Saint Jean, I was sat eating breakfast in a cafe, and there was a Scottish couple who were also about to go to Saint Jean Pied de Port. They started talking to me, and then they invited me to sit with them for their with their breakfast, and that was nice. So, and then when I was on the train, I think it was shortly after the train, I met another English lady who was walking. So it was immediately went from being this quite lonely, scary experience to being one of all these people that I've never met before, all talking to me and wanting to be friendly. And it was nice. It was very reassuring, really. From day on.
Because a lot of people go to the Camino searching, a lot of people go to the Camino for faith. What were you looking for in the Camino?
To be honest, I don't really know. It was probably more the personal challenge, I think, of completing, because at the time, so I dropped out of university. I didn't really know what I wanted to do job-wise. I had failed I thought about going into the Navy, and I failed the recruitment test for that. And I was just feeling, just a lot of loose ends.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to do something and complete it for myself, because I kept not completing things, and I wanted to have it. And so I think that was the motivation. And I'd never really done a physical challenge either. I'm not that good at sport really, and I'd never really done anything like a big 500-mile walk through Spain. It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, and I agree with you. Sometimes there's not like just one topic to go to the Camino. I think at the end is a series of little things that push you into the way. But that, as you say, it's a place where the only thing that you have to do is focusing on getting to the next place on the next day, and who cares what else happened. So how was what time of the year did you decide to do the Camino?
I went in June.
In June. So it was a time that younger crowd are still going, but probably an older crowd, no?
Yeah. It was a good mix. All sorts of age groups. There was people at the time I went. I was 18, 19, I think, in 2016. So there was people, from sort of my age up to. I met a guy who was 83.
83. Wow.
Yeah, I met a guy. He was from Barcelona, and he'd walked to the Camino 30 times every year since he was 53, and that was incredible. He used to get the train to Pamplona and then walk from there to Santiago. But yeah, massive age difference of all sorts of people from all over the world.
And how's the Camino on the first day? Usually you get that crazy day all the way up to St. John, then Roncesvalles, Pamplona. And you said that you just watched the movie, talked to your friend. Was it what you expected, or was totally different than what you have made up in your mind?
I don't know. It was. I didn't. It was all very new. It was very exciting, almost quite magical in a way. It wasn't. It didn't feel like any other travel experience that I've been on. It felt like, it just felt really unique because on the first day, I think I met people from America and from Spain, but from Denmark, from Ireland, from Germany, from all over the world. And even though I was in France going into Spain, I felt like I was in this. It didn't feel so much like I was in France and Spain because there's so many people and so many different influences from these people. So it was incredible.
And how's, usually we talk about the Camino family, no? At that moment when you realize that there's a group of people that are going to be walking with you. Was that your case? Did you find out your Camino, pretty soon, or was something that you will be changing back and forth in the Camino?
I guess I found the group that I stuck with. I found them actually in Logrona. So up until that point, I had walked with many people. I'd walked segments by myself. I met a Danish father and son who were walking together, and I camped outside one night with them, which was fun. And I was, staying in various places and having meals with them, which was nice. But then one morning they left very early. I decided to stay, and then I lost them for a bit. And then in Logrona, I met the group that I would end up walking pretty much the whole way with.
And how was that Camino family? The people they go, they expect was one of those mixed up from, as you say, 18 to 83, all kinds of people, or were more English speakers?
Yeah. No, they were. It was it was a big range. There was some free girls from California. There was a lady from Croatia. There was Jessie from Australia, and it was awesome. But as you go, you pick people up, and then people leave. It's a constant moving thing, isn't it?
Yeah, there's always a core, and there's always those people that go around the core like planets, and sometimes you can mix up. My case was the same. We were like a core of like 6 and 7, but there were also some other families that will join us every once in a while, and some other little satellites that will go back and forth depending on the day. And as you go farther in the Camino, how was the experience? I'm like getting out from the UK, getting to Spain, so different. What was the experience for you? As 18 years old, coming out from college, what was your idea? But did you expect that about Spain? Did you expect that about the Camino, or was everything totally different?
I think totally different, because prior to going there, my experience of Spain, I've been on holiday to Barcelona, to Malaga. Lots of British people in Malaga, to New York.
They're looking for the sun from the UK and the Germans.
Yeah, all the touristy places, and I had no idea that these beautiful green mountains and valleys and rivers, that they existed in Spain, like under the Pyrenees and all the way through to Galicia. And it's beautiful scenery, and the history as well. Such rich history. I mean, there's churches there and foundations of churches that go back almost thousands of years old, aren't they? So it was all just, felt like an undiscovered Spain that no one really knew about, and no one really talks about, because it's not Malaga or Gibraltar or places that we know.
I guess if you're not looking for the sand, for the all-included places, is not one of the ones that is. If you go to the north, probably there is beautiful beaches, also beautiful glazed places, but rain, wet, and cold even in the summer. So it depends what you're looking for, no?
Yeah.
And how was the experience for you? As you were going in that transformation, thinking about your future, thinking about what's going on in your life. Was it something that you were conscious about, or was just the Camino working through you?
I think it was something a bit that I was conscious about, because it was probably the first time that I'd ever, properly. It's almost like a meditative thing when you're walking for 10, 11 hours in a day, and often I spent times of it where I was by myself, and it sort of forces you to deal with quite a lot of things. It forces you to think about things, but at the end of the day, it takes all the things away that you think matter, like maybe certain material things that you think, oh, I need this or I need that, and you start focusing on what really matters, which is the people around you, the food you're going to. Very important. The lovely coffees and just simple things become really enjoyable, which was nice. Like you don't take things for granted as much.
Yeah, it's truly back to the basics. Were you one of the ones that wake up early, or were you one of the late ones?
I'm a late one. I struggle to wake up early. I remember countless times staying in the hostels, and I'd quite a deep sleeper, so I fell asleep. Everyone would be left. It'd be about 10 o'clock in the morning, and the guy who owned the hostel just banging on the bed going, "I'm not to get out." So quite a lot of times.
And how was the experience as you were going to Santiago and the thing was going to end? How was the process, going through you? What were you thinking? And did the Camino show you some clearance, or was that something that came after, arriving at home?
It was very. It was actually quite. It felt quite sad reaching the end. So when there was only 4 days left, it was quite sad. And from Syria, lots of people joined the Camino in Syria. Yeah. So that last stretch felt a bit not less special, but it felt more crowded, especially in the heat of the summer. There was loads more tourists there, and Santiago itself, obviously a really famous city. So it was special. In a sense that the experience was finished and we'd done it together, and it was a really nice achievement. But at the same time, I kind of wanted to be a few weeks back in the mountains.
And how was the arrival to Santiago? We always talk about, and that's one of the questions that I love to ask everyone, because everyone has such a different impression. Some people, it's the beautiful moment from the movies that, you think like, oh, I'm walking to heaven. And some people like, yes, as you say, another day, beautiful, but yes, another day.
I think it was definitely special to go there. At the time, I wasn't engaged very much in the religious aspect of the Camino. Since then, I have thought a lot more about that kind of thing. So when I go back, I think I will perhaps see it through more of a faith angle than what I did initially. But it was still, amazing seeing all these beautiful carvings and the lovely cathedral. I didn't get to see the swinging of the
Fumeiro.
Yeah, I didn't see that, and I didn't attend a pilgrim's mass or anything. I collected my Compostela, and I didn't actually go and see the shrine of St. James. I felt, because I'm not Catholic, and at the time I wasn't doing it for religious reasons. I didn't want to. I thought it was a special thing for those people who want to go there. I didn't want to go in, and feel like I was taking it away from anyone, really.
No, it's really nice because, I walked the Camino Portuguese with a bunch of kids that were 17, 18 going into college. And at the beginning, they weren't thinking on the religious. They were just there, for the fun. But as we get into Santiago, they even went to the mass twice. And I think that's one of the things that, some people, and with your age, it's one of the things that, so respectful to, you say, I'm letting the people that really believe in this to do it. But it's one of the beautiful things in the Camino, but I think it's also one of the beautiful things that maybe you have left behind so you can come back again and do it again.
That's what I'd like to do. Yeah, I went to one pilgrim's mass in Roncesvalles. I stayed in the the monastery with all the big hostel, and that was nice. I didn't understand anything, obviously all in Latin and stuff, but it felt like being in a film. All the medieval surroundings. It was very dark. The smells of incense, the songs in Latin. Very atmospheric.
Yeah, there's something beautiful and peaceful in it. And it's one of the things that, I encourage everyone, no matter the age, whatever you may think, and even if you are not Catholic and you're not religious, there's something special in churches and in all these masses and things, and it's being part of that community. So I said, always, if I go to Asia, I will go to a Buddhist temple and I will be part of, its history, its culture, it's beautiful. So, and what happened when you finished your Camino? There was time to go back home. Did you stay a couple of days in Santiago, or?
I stayed just one day in Santiago, and then I was flying out to Berlin. I was meeting my sister in Berlin, and we were going to travel. We traveled to. We spent a few days in Berlin, and then we went to Prague, and then I went home. But I stayed with a friend that I met on the Camino in Berlin at his house, which was nice. But it was a massive contrast, going from the Camino where everyone's really friendly, proper community, to then being in Berlin, which is like, it's like London or Manchester. It's a really busy city. Everyone's, rushing around. No one looks at you. No one smiles. And I'm just there with my walking stick thinking, oh, I want to go back. But yeah, I did. I missed it quite a lot when I left.
It is funny because a lot of people have that issue. I heard from people that instead of taking, the tram of the like to walk home, or people that slept, in the couch with the sleeping bag, people that goes on the street and it's like, buen camino, and it's like, why are people looking weird at me?
Yeah,
it's incredible, how much we get so comfortable and so used to the Camino that suddenly it's such an impact to go back to normal life.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's I think that was one of the reasons why in 2018 I went to Porto to walk a section of the Camino Portuguese as well.
And how was the Camino Portuguese? Because I have walked from from Porto, the coastal, but did you do the coastal, the inland?
I only had about 4 days of time available, so I just walked from Porto to Barcelos. Okay. So very, very short experience. So I didn't really. I'd like to go back, one day and do it fully.
Yeah, so it's a Camino that's totally, for me, it's one of my most beautiful because of the simplicity. So how easy it is, how beautiful. And when did this idea of the Camino Gin came to you? I'm like, was that something that you were used to? How does one get into doing your own spirits? Because for me, I heard about a lot of people doing their own, beer, but never heard about anyone getting into doing, gin or any hard alcohol.
Yeah. So it's so how it all came about was when I left the Camino in 2016. I was just thinking about ways that I could sort of continue the Camino on in my normal life. I was working as a cocktail bartender. I used to have a mobile bar business. So I do festivals, weddings, events, and all that sort of stuff.
Oh.
And I've always loved, working with alcohol, making cocktails, and personally, I just like nice spirits and nice beers and all this. And then it was probably just over a year ago, I started thinking about what I could incorporate in so how I could sort of join my love of the Camino and my love of spirits and craft spirits, specifically gin, together. And that's when I decided to create Camino Gin. And so the reason why I chose gin as opposed to vodka or whiskey or anything like that is because gin, you can be really playful with the botanicals. So you can infuse it with loads of different things. And one of the my memories from the Camino is I met a guy, an Italian man, who was foraging. So he was picking plants and berries and things from the side of the road. And I asked him how do you know what's safe to eat? And he showed me he had a book called The Edible Camino. And this is written by a guy from Israel and a lady from America, I think. And this book, it has over 70 different things in there that you can eat that adorn the way. And it shows you which parts of the Camino you can find them from. And loads of these things are like mushrooms and things that you wouldn't want to put in a gin. But a lot of them were some really beautiful botanicals. So aside from this, there is a small distillery in the village next to where I live called the Big Hill Distillery. So I took this concept, this idea to them, and I said, can we craft a spirit using botanicals that can be found along the Camino Frances? And they were up for the challenge. And I sourced all the botanicals, originally sourcing about 36 different types of botanicals, loads of different herbs and fruits that can be found along the way. And we narrowed that down to 17 botanicals, which form the core recipe for the gin. So we've got...
How the ones start? I'm like, okay, you were into, mixing drinks, but have you ever made anything on your own? Did you ever make beer at your house or anything? Because going from a mixer into a maker, I'm like, that's such a, I'm like, I'm still having, I love beer. I don't drink hard alcohol, but beer, I love it and I would love to, but I don't have the space to. But how does one go? So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to start doing my own gin or vodka at home. Yeah.
Well, this, I've made it couple of times messing about, and I have a small 2-liter still.
Okay.
So I made what did I make? I made like an orange liqueur. And I was messing around with different liqueurs and things, which I've done myself. But the gin, I partnered up with these two guys called David and Ben at this small distillery in Moberly, and they're experts in gin making. They've given me for a good few years, and they had all the skills, experience, and all the licenses, because in the UK it's a very heavily regulated industry.
I think it is worldwide also, and depending on what kind of gin, you even have to have a certification to make a specific gin, no? Because then just the branding of gin is specific to a quality or something, no?
Definitely, like with the London Dry gin, it has to be made, and this is a London Dry gin, although it's I refer to it as a contemporary dry gin because of all these flavors that we've put into it. But it's made on a 130 litre copper still in traditional methods, small batches, and it's single shot distilled as well. And it's the purest part of the batch that gets used in the bottle. So it's a really high quality product.
And how was the process of coming up with the recipe? I'm like, the tasting of all those things that you discover in the Camino, I'm like, might be amazing. I'm like, I cannot think in having to try all those little things just to find out which one was the perfect one.
No, that's we did so much tasting. So we got the herbs in as dried herbs mostly. So it's got things like dandelion, lemon balm, wild cherry bark, nettles, blackberry leaves, figs, bilberry fruits, elderflowers, blue cornflowers. And blue cornflowers are they grow near the side of wheat fields, so they're like these little blue flowers, and you see them quite a lot as you're getting towards like the Meseta and places like that. So yeah, there was loads of experimenting and tasting. Really, as soon as it comes off the still, well, it's still hot, but it was good fun.
And how's the process of making gin? I'm like, you have to mix everything, let it stay. Like, how is the process?
So first, everything is steeped. So they have the alcohol, the neutral alcohol, which is it's like nearly 90% ABV, and that sits in the pot of the still, if you like, with all the different botanicals. So that infuses for a day or two, and then the still is fired up, and the alcohol goes up through the vapor chamber. There's different things packed in the vapor chamber as well, because certain botanicals break down differently.
Okay.
So they respond to being in this little chamber, or they respond to being in the steep. But it's fascinating how it all comes off, because you get different flavors at different stages in the distillation. Because something like a cherry bark, for example, might release its essence slower than the fig might release its flavor first. So you get like, a taste of fig, and then you get, this is quite herby. And then at the end, it's all mixed together to create this complex, herby, fragrant, citrusy gin.
It is so funny because in Spain, in the north of Spain, we have the tradition of making liquor. We all have our own different ones. In Navarra, we have Pacharan, that is anise with the dendrines. And then the Galicians, they do the liquor with cafe and with herbs. And suddenly you decide to do something, I think, in step higher to the gin, but something that is so being used to pilgrims, just, to warm your body, just a shot or something. I'm like, for me, when I go to the albergues, I don't know if you tried when you were in the Camino, the liquor de café, and those are so strong, so alcoholic that for me is just incredible.
Yeah. No, it's like, I remember, is it the Pacharon? It's like a slow gin, like a purple.
Yeah. And that's the only hard alcohol that I drink here, and I love it, but it's so sugary. It's just that it stays for like, I don't know, the little berries, and it's, But then the Galician, they do the cafe and the herbs. So it's so different from being from one side to the other. So a lot of tradition in the Camino making, spirits.
Definitely. The and like I say, obviously a massive connection to wine as well through Rioja, Navarra. Obviously the Galicia with all the Albarino wines, but I want to if I get a barrel from Rioja, from the Monasterio de Arash with the wine factory. Yeah,
but that's in Navarra. That's not Rioja, even though they
Navarra.
do. But remember that they do Rioja because it's this wine. But the monastery is in Navarra. It's close to Estella. It's like half an hour from my town.
Okay, nice. Well, that's I want to source a barrel from there and have a go at aging some gin in the barrel, so it takes on some of the notes from the
I will, but we can talk after the interview about that. But and also one of the things that I love, and one of the things that I'm trying to push forward, and fighting a lot of distance, like a lot of people do business along the Camino, not for the profit, because to give back in the Camino. And that's one of the things that you always point out, that making the gin is a business for you, but it's also a way to give back to the Camino. Why?
Yeah, I'd say so the gin is so I'm focusing full time on the gin, trying to I get the gin in different bars and restaurants, and I sell it online as well. But a large part of this is to raise awareness of the Camino here in the UK, because not very many people in Britain know about it. So I've joined there's a pilgrim charity in the UK called the Confraternity of St James. So I've spoken with them, and hopefully I'll be doing some promotional things with them where I can just use their platform to spread the word. I go to various different artisan markets, and I'm constantly telling people the story of the Camino, and encouraging people to go out there and explore and drink as well. So that's it.
So how people react to the Camino Gin? I know that a dearly friend, Sue from Casa Susi, was one of the first ones to try it, and has always been so proud of having the Camino Gin over there.
Yeah, no, she was. So I found Casa Susi through Instagram, and I followed her story a bit on social media, and I saw her amazing kitchen garden and the beautiful albergue where they are. So I thought, I have to send her a bottle and see what she thinks, and that was cool. So that was the first bottle on the Camino de Santiago, was that bottle with at Casa Susi. But the reaction's been really positive from the Camino community. I've had people from as far as Hawaii, people in Australia, people from all over Europe, asking if they can, buy the gin. I have these little cups, which are made by an artist in Lagrona.
Okay.
So they're just ceramic cups. I sell them for G&Ts, but I use it for tea and coffee and stuff as well. But I've had people from Romania, pilgrims in Romania, buying them, and people from all over the world wishing me luck and giving me support, really. So it's been it's been awesome. Very thankful for it.
And I think it's beautiful. The Camino is different for everyone, and it's some people, as we said, decide to paint. Some people decide to make a travel agency, but it's fun, for you and your love for spirits. What a more beautiful way to share love, with something that is so different and so profound. As you were saying, it's a way to tell your story and the Camino story to others. That's
it, and that's one of the reasons why with the label and the branding and stuff, we tried to build in as many Camino elements as we could. The shell, obviously, of St James, upside down on the yellow arrow. I have a little pilgrim's gourd, what people carry on their rucksacks in the corner.
That's so cool.
The sword of St James on that side. This is the map line from Saint Jean Pied de Port to Santiago de Compostela, and then you have footsteps around the outside. The stars are to represent the Camino's relationship with the Milky Way. Yeah, and the same on the. I don't know if you can see. I've got it stamped
on the seal
as well.
Yeah, I know that you lately have been having some issues with the stamp and the wax, no?
Yeah, it takes a lot of time to do. Yeah,
but that's the beauty, being so artisan, being so handmade, and So tell us, now that the summer is approaching, and people that want to buy your gin, how to mix it, what will be the Camino? I'm like, one of the things I would like you to invite you to do is the Camino drink. Let's make the Camino cocktail. What will be the Camino cocktail look like?
So the Camino, we've done a few Camino cocktails at the moment. So just experimenting, but we haven't created the Camino cocktail yet. I think to create the Camino cocktail, I would love to get a hold of a bottle of Pasha rum.
Okay.
And I would like to mix a kind of it'd be quite a winter drink, but like a gin and with the Pasha rum and maybe some other things in there. But the cocktails we've made so far, we made one called the Ramble. So the Ramble is a play on words on the classic cocktail, the Bramble. And that's gin. We've got lime in there, and it's a fig creme de mure as well. So that plays on like the figs, and obviously a lot of figs on the Camino, and it's quite a nice, refreshing drink. But really, just we still need to explore with that.
And like right now, that Estrella Galicia is mixing up the beer with, Pimientos del Padrón, Octopus. Will you be willing to jump into something so creative or so weird or something like that and make it so Galician?
Yeah. What, mixing it? They're mixing it into the octopus, into the food?
No, the beer has the peppers taste.
From the right. Nice. I guess it's one of the fun things about gin is you can explore. There's so much basis for exploring with it. It can be as crazy or as pared back as you want to make it.
So what are you looking, what is your expectations of have the Camino Gin in up to 5 years? Where do you want to take this product and this company?
So my dream with Camino Gin is I want to get it out to the Camino. It's very difficult because obviously Britain has left the EU, which means getting everything to Spain.
Now we are not so friendly basics.
No, that's it, and it's been really difficult for me because before January, I was able to send gin to France, to Spain, to Romania, to all over Europe, and it was so easy. Since then, they've stopped it. My parcel carriers have stopped it, so I finally found one that will take it to Spain, so I can start selling abroad again. But in 5 years, I would love to, have it being sold out there on the Camino. And I plan on, I'd love to write a Camino Gin cocktail book. So we have plans to go back to the Camino and write a book that isn't just about cocktail recipes based on the place, but it's a guide to the Camino as well. So telling you lovely local cafes where you can get, recommending food and drink places, recommending albergues, places like Casa Susi, and sustainable foraging to make these really exciting cocktails with. So that's the next step of this, really. So I plan on making another gin, a Navy strength gin, around 57%, based on the north route of the Camino. So I plan on walking from Iran to Santiago and discovering what botanicals are near the sea. So there'll be a lot of seaweeds, there'll be some lovely plants and things that only grow near the seaside, and then incorporating them in a strong Navy strength gin.
So it's going to be one gin for each Camino?
Maybe there's a lot of Caminos, but I have to. I don't want to just create the gin on the north route without walking it myself first. I want to go out and experience it, and do it that way. So there'll be a gin for us, however many Caminos I can walk. Yeah.
So the next question I always do is like, when is going to be your next Camino, and which one is going to be your next Camino? So I guess it's that we have the answer to the question for which, but when.
What I'm planning on next May. I would love to go. I was hoping for this October, but it's not looking so possible. No. But my plan next May is I was thinking of walking from the distillery here in Moberley down through the UK to Portsmouth, getting on the boat at Portsmouth to Bilbao, and walking from Bilbao to Santiago. So starting my Camino from my home here in Cheshire. So that's one plan.
There's a couple of people that have walked to Santiago from the UK all the way through France and the whole. So, but as you say, that would be beautiful to walk from the distillery. What a meaningful journey.
To connect for myself, to connect the distillery to the Camino through that journey. And I think if I do that, which I hope I will, I'd put the map line from the distillery to Santiago, following the route. So as well.
Probably the first thing that you have to do right now is put one of those stones in the distillery, and like I said, put a marker right in front of the distillery, and measure how long it is the way from the distillery to Santiago.
Yeah, that is. I would love to do that. Yeah, have a way marker saying. I think it's about, obviously going through France, it takes a lot longer. But if I did it from the distillery to Portsmouth to Bilbao to Santiago, I think it's about nearly 700 miles from the distillery, but I'd have to measure it out.
Yeah, a lot of stories to tell, a lot of Caminos to win. Anyway, Tom, we hope that anything we can help you here. You have a friend here and you have a house here in Pamplona, so we'll love to help you, and helping anyone that is related to Camino and spreading the love to the Camino. That's what the Camino people was built for, because at the end, the Caminos of the people and the stories that they tell in many different ways, and you're for sure telling your incredible story through your genes. So congratulations on both. And we wish you the best. And as we always say here, buen camino, ultraya.
Yeah, buen camino. Thank you very much. Cheers.